Here are 3 lies the church is telling single people, and I'm tired of it. Church family, come here. Come here. Let me talk to you real quick. Let me sit down. Let's have a conversation. I don't know about you all, but when I was growing up, marriage was like the pinnacle. It was like the creme de la creme. Like, it was the thing that everybody had to strive for in order to be made whole, or for there to be a purpose in life. Like, marriage was and is still glorified as the peak of human relationship. Like, oh, you want to get married so that way you can have sex, or oh, you want to have married so that way you can like up your status. Like, yo. And as someone who was single for 25 years of her life, okay, I did have a boyfriend here or there, but for someone who was single for like literally most of her life, hearing how marriage was the one type of human relationship that I needed to strive for in order to be important in this world was debilitating, let me tell you. And the thing is I didn't get this just from the outside world. If anything, this was pushed more so in my church than anything. All right, but anyways, I digress. Here are 3 lies that the church are still telling us single people, and it's got to go. Like, we got to put a stop to this. All right, lie number 1 is this: singleness is just a waiting room for marriage. Cut it out. Okay, Paul talks in 1 Corinthians chapter 7 that singleness is actually a time, it's a period where we can devote all of our time, all of our energy to God. Paul says in 1 Corinthians 7 that those who are married are worried about the things of their world, worried about their family, about their wives, about their husbands. Those who are married have other things and responsibilities that they have to worry about. And Paul's not saying that's not bad or anything, but that's just the reality. Your mind is split everywhere and there, and God should still be prioritized, but oftentimes not. God is sometimes put to the back burner. And what Paul was saying here is, when you are single, dude, you ain't got no relationship to focus on. Like, it's all between you and God. And so singleness is not a waiting room for marriage. It shouldn't be looked at that. Singleness is a time where we can devote our time, our effort, and our entire relationship on God, right? It's where we can actually grow and focus in on God, like actually lock in. All right, so don't just look as your singleness as a stepping stone or a waiting room until you get married. Look at singleness as a way to build a relationship with God, to grow closer with Him, and to have Him make Himself known to you, right? Okay, so yeah, stop that. All right, lie number 2, okay, and this may just be a unspoken rule, but like, if you're not married, something's wrong with you, and we need to cut that out. All right, that's not the truth. If you're single for your own personal reasons, or just because of circumstances outside of yourself, if you're single, that does not mean that something is wrong with you. Okay, singleness is a beauty, it's a gift, and it's something that God can still utilize and can still use for us in whatever it is that He has us called to do. Here's the thing: Paul also mentions in 1 Corinthians chapter 7 that whenever we are called, whether we're single, whether we're married, whether we're slave, whether we're poor, whether we're rich, whenever God has called us, in what situation God has called us, move in the situation that God has called you to be. Don't strive to immediately leave the situation that God called you. And what he means by called is when God has revealed His Son and then you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. In other words, the situation in where you become a Christian, where you actually take your life for real with God, it should not be looked at as a season or as a situation that is despicable. Rather, look at it as a situation where God has called you to minister, called you to share the gospel, and it was for such a time as this. Don't immediately try to go on to the next big thing. And because of this, singleness is not a curse, it's not a disease. Marriage also isn't the one answer to fix everything. Sure, sex will be great. I'm still waiting to be married, so I still have yet to experience sex, but sure, sex will be great, as people have told me and all that jazz. But here's the thing, like, that's not the whole point of marriage. The whole point of marriage is for us to lead each other to the kingdom. And what happens when we are placed in proximity with one another to lead each other to the kingdom, it's actually hard work. Because in marriage, everything is exposed. And by everything, I mean everything. Like I said, still not married yet, okay? But from what I have been told, marriage exposes all. And so there's some things that we're trying to hide, rather from God or from our partner, that are always going to be exposed. And is that something that you want to open yourself up to? Hey, so marriage in of itself has its own challenges. And just because we're not married, or just because you're not married, does not mean that there's something wrong with you. No, be content in your singleness. I had to learn to be content in my singleness. I had to come to a point where I was like, you know what, God, like, if I never marry, like, it's cool. Like, I know that what you have for me is for me. And I had to learn and understand the joy in other relationships. Platonic relationships are amazing. They're beautiful, okay? Like, being in a relationship with other people, and it's just because you guys are friends, is awesome. Having mentees, people that you can pour into, that is just awesome. And those are just as life-giving as if I were to be in a marriage. The beautiful thing about marriage, right, or what I'm expecting or thinking marriage will be, is it's just another depth of love. But it doesn't mean that the levels of love I have experienced up until now weren't as deep. Does that make sense? Marriage is just another depth, but that doesn't negate the previous levels of love that I have experienced in my life either. All right? So either way, listen, you're not cursed if you're single, okay? And nothing's wrong with you, okay? Don't believe it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Oh yeah, and you'll note too with the whole like singleness is like being single is like a curse or something like that. Keep in mind, Jesus was single, Paul was single. Like, being single is not a illness, it's not a defect. Sometimes being single is a calling. And just because we do live a life of singleness doesn't mean that our life is any less than, okay? So finally, here's the thing. Here's the third lie. Okay, y'all ready? The third lie is this, that we'll oftentimes feel complete when we find our partner. That is not true. That is not it. Do not go into marriage thinking that your partner is going to complete you. The only person who should complete you is God. And this is a time in singleness of where God can continue to work on our hearts, to continue to fix the brokenness that we have experienced in our lifetime, and to help us to understand that our worth, our salvation, who we are, our identity is actually in Him. It's not in another person. Because the moment that we start giving other people, priority over our lives, or agency over our lives, or they're the ones who control our lives, our life becomes a hot mess. We lose ourselves. We have no idea who we are or what our purpose is, because human beings were never meant to give purpose to other human beings in the first place. Our main purpose, our main priority, the one person who can complete us is God Himself, because God is not human. He is outside of humanity. And so it takes something outside of humanity in order to give us a greater purpose. That something is God, okay? And so we shouldn't go into marriage thinking that our partner is going to complete us. No human being will ever complete us. In other words, get to know Jesus, all right? He is the way, the truth, and the life. He says, abide in me and I in you, and you will bear much fruit. That's not just so that way you can have like life abundantly, but that's also so that way you could be complete. A branch is not complete if it's not attached to its main source. So with all that being said, listen, church folk, I think it's time we stopped glorifying and idolizing marriage as the pinnacle of human relationships, right? Like that's not true. That's not true. God designed human beings to be in community, but community takes all forms and shapes, whether that's platonic relationships, sibling relationships, mentor-mentee relationships. There are so many other relationships that add joy and depth to our life besides romantic relationships. And I think it's time that we started moving towards that. All right, before I head off, I do have to ask you guys, which one of these hit you? Like, which one of these lies, like, you were like, Krista, thank you so much for saying, or were you like, Krista, what are you talking about? Anyways, if any of these hit you, or if it made an impact on you, like, comment the like look eyes and let me know, and let's start a conversation. I'm ready to talk about it. Like, I'm sick of it. I know I'm getting married like in like a month and some change, okay? Don't come for me on that. I was still single for a good time, so I still understand, okay? I still understand. But yeah, anyways, peace.